Hello, beautiful souls. Here, let me do my namaste. I hope you are doing well. I'm getting ready to drive, so you know what that means. Let me get you all plugged into my charger here. For those turning into the short, we're going to be talking about self-improvement on the healing journey and why this is a really big part of the healing journey and why it's so important. So I'm going to put you down here. You get the star view. Woo woo. Oh, I didn't realize how low I am on gas. I'll be okay. All right. I'm heading to an appointment. So that means, oh, sorry about that. I had an alarm go off. That was my alarm letting me know to hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. What you say? Just kidding. All right. So, one of the big areas that you will come across in your healing journey is this drive for self-improvement. Now, I think this is because, let me close my back windows and turn my air on because it's about to get a little bit warm in my car here. Hold on. There we go. I think the reason this happens is because when you go through your awakening process, when you start to go through your ego death, what's happening in that is you, up until that point, you have built your self, your sense of self, on kind of, I don't want to say faulty ground, but a false ground. Not entirely, but mostly. Because everything that you built it on until you come to the point of self-awareness has been based on everything external beliefs, external, like your culture, your religious beliefs, what your parents believed, all of that. So when you become self-aware and you start to go through this process of healing and you're going within and you're having this ego death, what's happening is this version of yourself that you've built, you're beginning to realize is not entirely your authentic truth. So as you go through shedding those layers and healing wounds and releasing traumas and balancing your energies and getting your feminine and masculine energy balanced and all of those things that you're going to go through, you're going to be basically recreating your human self. Now, you're going to be remembering your divine self. As that veil lifts and you go through this awakening process, you're going to remember that you are truly, at your core, a perfect, whole, divine being. A soul. The essence of who you are. Like if your physical body were not here, and you just had the essence of who you are, your energy, your soul space, that is divine. It carries all the memories, all the lessons, okay? All the wisdom, all the knowledge of the universe. But the character you're playing while you're here on Earth, the physical human being that you've chosen to play, is going through a rebirth process. Now I'm too cold. Sorry. Perimenopause. Hot, cold, hot, cold. Anyways. So you're going through this rebirth process in your physical form. And as you're doing that, you are now going within and realizing, well, I get to choose, consciously choose, from a place of self-awareness, what I believe to be truth. And how I want to align my thoughts and my words and my actions. And as you're doing that, it naturally puts you in this place of being motivated and excited for self-improvement. Especially because in many cases, I don't think for everybody, I don't think everything is an all or nothing, okay? But for many people, as you're going through this transformational process, you're going to find out that you are actually here to do something important. It might be a project. It might be a mission. It could be anything for anyone. So, I mean, there'd be too many examples, but I can give you my example. I can't tell you specifically what it is because I've not been called to discuss it publicly. People in my life that are close to me know about this, but I have a passion project. It's a big one that I'm being called to do in the future. And because it's so big, a very big undertaking, the universe has been preparing me. The first steps of the preparation process, of course, have been my awakening process, my healing process. And as I've gotten to we're never fully done healing. We will experience that throughout our entire lifetime as a human being. But you will get to a point in that process where the lessons kind of slow down, are less intense and less frequent, and you're more in a peaceful energy, and you're more in the energy of, okay, now I'm ready to make progress on what I came here to do. Whatever that mission is that you've been, that you signed up for in the spirit realm before you came into the physical realm. So in my situation, now that I'm to a point in my healing process where now I'm moving more into the development of my physicalness. So I'm healing my brain patterns. I'm working on skill sets, like how to be more professional, how to network, how to communicate, all the things that I'm going to need in order to make this successful for this endeavor that I'm, because Spirit's not going to throw you into whatever you're supposed to do unprepared, because then you would fail, and that would be pointless. So Spirit is going to lay the foundation for you and help guide you, because your physical avatar, your human being, needs to develop. Like, say for instance, you're going to be a chef, and you're going to open a restaurant, and you're going to do great things with that restaurant. Not only obviously are you going to feed people, but let's say through that restaurant you're going to be doing programs where you're helping the homeless, or whatever it is you're called to do. But let's just say the most cooking you've ever done is mac and cheese on the stove. But you just, for some reason, in your heart, this is what you're meant to do, and you're excited about it, and it's your purpose, but you don't have the skills. So the universe is going to start laying a path for you. They're going to say, okay, well, the first thing you got to do is go to school to learn how to cook. And then they might put some other opportunities in front of you. Maybe they're going to have you working at a soup kitchen, working with the homeless, so that you get that experience of running, working within that capacity, but also how to interact with people that are less fortunate, how to, you're making connections, human connections, professional connections. So the universe is going to lay out that roadmap for you so that you understand that you're not being thrown into this unprepared. Okay? So along that path, right, is this personal development. And the really cool thing, I think, when you're on this healing journey, is that you get excited about it. You get excited about personal development. You actually can't wait to start to learn how to better yourself, because it's no longer a thing like you feel you're being forced to do, but it's something you actually want to do. And so there's so many wonderful, wonderful resources out there. I think for many who are right smack dab in the middle of the healing journey, a first great step is probably therapy, counseling, right? Because that's going to provide an outside perspective. Because sometimes when we're in the middle of these dark nights of the soul, it's hard to see through the fog. And having a third person, as in a therapist, who not only has the knowledge of what's going on in your brain, with depression and things like that. But if you can also get in touch with someone who's more on the holistic side and understands more of the spiritual aspect, that's even better, because they'll be able to kind of help guide you and show you things that you're not able to see while you're in the middle of all that. So that's a great first step, right? But if you don't have the resources for that, the next step is, we live in the information age. Online communities are vast, and there's niches, I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, for everything and everyone in between, right? So I think I said that wrong, but anything and everything in between, there we go. And so, using your free resources, going online, and I love YouTube for resources. Now, the caveat here and the little side note is, you always want to pray for the spirit of discernment, because not every person putting content out there is knowledgeable, is truthful, can be trusted, so a great example, there are a lot of relationship channels, and I see this and it really irks me. It's like my pet peeve. There's a lot of relationship channels out there being done by men and women who are not healed, who are bitter towards the opposite sex, and they're out there putting really terrible, toxic advice. And people latch onto it because they're also wounded, and it's just making things worse for people. So again, anytime you're going to be accessing external information from any kind of source, whether it be videos, books, websites, people, please pray for the spirit of discernment. And then after you receive the information, pray or meditate, whatever it is you do, to make sure that information was meant for you and that you should be incorporating that into your life. Okay, even with me when I speak, it is always my intention that when I bring messages, that the messages are only here to help people, not to harm them in any way. But my messages may not be for everyone that tunes in. And so I would say the same thing for me, that when you listen to me, pray for that discernment, okay? But yeah, so back to the subject of self-improvement. It's a beautiful thing. It's, when you start to see your own growth, it feels so amazing. It makes you feel very powerful. And that actually puts you in divine alignment, because again, in order to bring about whatever it is you're meant to do, for example, think about all the people that have done big things in the world, inventors and business people, they had a sense of cockiness to them, right? They had a sense of pride to them, and maybe some of them might be a little higher on that narcissism scale, but the point making is that they prepared themselves and they went on this journey, and when they got the tools and the information they needed to bring about the things that they brought, whether it be inventions or businesses or whatever, the reason they had that kind of sense of pride is because they accomplished a lot, right? Now, obviously, I would caution to be humble. Always be humble, because pride can be the thief of joy, right? So it's okay to be proud of yourself for the work you've done, but the balance to that, because everything should be balanced, is also to be humble and to be in an energy of gratitude for how you got there, right? Understanding that it's rarely you alone that gets you to those places. Usually yes, it is your hard work, but there's usually, and most of the time, the universe, God, has brought people and resources along the way to help you get to where you're going. So don't forget that. Don't let it just be all in your ego, and don't let yourself think it's always just you that got you to where you're at. Yes, you are a part of the equation, an important part of the equation, because without you making choices and taking actions, you wouldn't be where you're at. But the universe puts those people and resources along your way to help you get there. So that's why you want to remain humble and grateful. But yeah, so I wanted to just talk a little bit about that, because I'm at a season of my life where I'm kind of in the next chapter where there's a lot of emphasis on growth and development, and it's very exciting. And every time I learn a new skill, or every time I get an opportunity to interact and realize, wow, I've really grown as a human being, maturing and learning and evolving, and I'm seeing the difference it's making in my life, I get really excited. And that's kind of where you need to be in your journey to get to the next level of wherever you're going. It doesn't matter, what level that is. It's going to be different for each person, because everyone's at different places on their journey. But that joy and the excitement is really what creates the momentum to keep pushing you forward on your journey. So that's all I have today. Pretty short. I hope that was short. And I hope it resonated for those that needed to hear it. And as always, feel free to comment and share this message if you think someone can benefit from it. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Namaste.